Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sasken Life and Tech Series, a space where we explore the journey of Sasken spanning to almost 40 years with our people. Every technology company has a story, but every enduring company has one person who's seen it all from the risks to belief, failure, and reinvention. Today, we have with us someone who's seen the evolution of the global technology industry and has contributed to it from India even before it was considered fashionable. Rajiv Mody, founder, CMD, and CEO, Sasken Technologies, a leader who has built a company that has moved from chips to systems, from services to deep engineering, and through multiple cycles of highs and lows that the industry has seen. Rajiv, thank you so much for joining us today here in this very special first episode of the Sasken Life and Tech series. But today it's not about Sasken. It's about the person behind the leader, the choices behind the journey, and the decisions that changed directions. So, Rajiv, thank you again so much for joining. We're glad to have you. Thank you. So, Rajiv, you spent over 30 years building and rebuilding Sasken through multiple falls and rises of tech cycles. So, we'd like to start right at the beginning. So, as a student, did you ever imagine life would turn out like this?
I don't think I can recall any event or situation or where I can link it to whether life will turn out like this. There's always this passion, this thing, particularly supported by my father. He always used to say that if possible, come back to India. When I had, of course, gone to the US for higher education and all, that if at all, come back to India and do something. Even if it is small, it's good, but do something out of India. So that was always there in the back of the mind. But no, I don't think I had ever imagined that life would turn out in this nice, a good way.
So, was there any early experience that helped shape your, entire career trajectory that you have today?
I mean, I can now look in the rear view hindsight and think of few instances. One, of course, I was in the Boy Scout, and over there learned the art of being prepared all the time. Motto of Boy Scouts is be prepared.
Right.
So I do think, and then also went and was awarded the President's Badge of Honor,
Oh.
and I was fortunate enough to collect it from the President of the country, the award. So when I look at from school days, obviously that seems to kind of resonate. And many instances thereon in terms of when one used to go camping, dealing with situations where you didn't know or hadn't planned for. So those are the kind of things which kind of shaped, obviously, in the early days. And then, of course, college days was more fun. But then when I went to the US, I think that's where it became more serious
Right.
and found out that uh, learning and obviously doing things on your own and the joy of doing it is something different, and that shaped my thinking quite a bit. If I have to connect to my early days in the US, where you had to struggle to kind of get over the challenges, because in the Indian context you're not used to particular ways of education,
Right.
while there it was thrown in the deep waters from day one. So that's where you learn the art of swimming.
No, right. So you moved from India to the US, and you moved to multiple, domains of study, and then finally you even went into a PhD, but you walked away from it. But when it comes to Indian context, a PhD is something that's seen as safe. So what was the thought process behind walking away from something like a PhD?
I think I got into the PhD program because I could not find a job in 82.
Okay.
I mean, I finished my master's, went to California, looked for a job for about 4 months, but I couldn't find a job. And that's when, of course, I got an opportunity to start and do my PhD. It's a school kind of admitted me to the program. And more importantly was the teaching assistant's role. Okay. And the monies that came with it. So in some ways, if you look at it, I didn't have a choice if I wanted to stay in the US. So I went into the program. And the best thing that happened to me is one thing I do remember even today and probably shaped me was while I was given the job of being a teaching assistant, I I thought I'll be required to kind of grade the students for a prof who is already teaching that course. But to my surprise, I was kind of thrown into the deep waters and was asked to teach a course to undergrad students as well as to graduate students. So, frankly, I was not obviously prepared for teaching, but then since I had been thrown in deep waters, I didn't have a choice. And that's the best thing I think happened to me because I learned the subject and the art of facing students. Right. And thinking on the feet. Right. At a very young age. And that is probably something that is standing by me even today. The ability to kind of deal with ambiguity and all kind of connecting the dots to find the proper answer. So there's 2 semesters of teaching is something I do recall and remember. And I do think that that really shaped me. Of course, I have the regret I didn't finish the PhD, but in those days I got a job, and obviously priority was probably to get a green card. Okay. So I took the job and the monies too that comes with it. So I think that was but I at times wish and I feel I can go back and finish my PhD. That would be a great thing. And maybe you're giving me idea. Maybe when I hang my boots, maybe I can go and finish my PhD. You're never too old to learn. Absolutely, absolutely. So thanks for giving an idea. Right. So you mentioned about the variation in teaching and learning in the US and in India. So that's one part of it. But apart from that, when you landed in the US, what was one of the biggest culture shocks that you had as an Indian? Oh, I mean, everything was a big culture shock. First, food didn't taste the same the way one was used to over here. So you had to adapt, change. I went in the peak of summer. I'm sorry, peak of winter. So snow around you and dressing up uh, was another big culture adjustment that I had to do. At times, you had to wait for the bus at like 10 in the night in the midst of right. Cold. But all those things are good things in my view that happens to one because it shapes the character. How do you? The biggest shock was when you go to the school, the college. I mean, college school is kind of interchangeably used over there. So when you go to school, uh, there is you have to be on your own. The profs kind of give you the assignments. Nobody helps each other, unlike over here. You have to do it on your own, and that made you think and work harder. And that was an interesting change that I experienced, but that gave you the motivation. Once you start solving it on your own, it gives a sense of confidence, which I think I would definitely attribute it to those formative years in the US. So tell us about a little bit more about your early technical roles when you got a job and all. So what did you like most in those roles? Was it solving problems that you get on a day-to-day basis, or was it just understanding how things work? I think when I look at it from those early days, I remember fondly that you had access to resources, you had access to amazingly bright people around you, and you had time. So the best thing that happened to me was being in amongst all those set of people, and then had a few very good friends with whom we used to just keep solving complex problems. And in our times, we used to have access to net groups and all those things, which allowed you to communicate and create and solve for many a things. But overall, I think the thing I fondly remember was the fact that you had the opportunity to learn. We took that opportunity, as well as you had, like I said, resources, and we made good use of resources. So the foundation that got built was very strong,
Okay.
which I think even today it stands the test of time. So I admire, I mean, I credit that to those first 2, 3 years which I spent working in the US, which kind of still holds dearly to me.
Right. So moving on in the journey, tell us about how you moved from getting employed somewhere to imagining a future and envisioning something that where you had something, you have built something on your own, and where the and when you build something on your own, did you imagine that you just want to build tech, or did you imagine an entire ecosystem, or what was your vision during that transit?
I think when we started Sasken, of course, it was called Silicon Automation Systems. Our objective was to build a company in area of design tools and with an anchoring out of India.
Okay.
That was one of our clear thinking. And towards that, of course, the three of us started along with support from two others.
Okay.
It's a total of 5 founders. Uh, and obviously, the context was to focus on this and see how we succeed in that. But then when you get into it, you kind of run into different opportunities.
Hmm.
And that's where actually I found one of the capabilities, or one of the that's the talent I probably have, is the ability to spot things and go after it.
Okay.
And that entrepreneurial zeal, or that itch, the day looks good, let's do it.
Right.
Okay, I think that kind of allowed you to keep expanding beyond what was. So when new opportunities came our way, while we started as a design tool company, new opportunities came up in the area of telecom.
Hmm.
So that's where we jumped into it. Then came the opportunity, how do we build our own IPs? And that was what we then pursued. And one thing leads to another, because once you get into it, you get ideas.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think has stood by me even today, which is an exciting thing, which allows one to keep going.
Right. Yeah, of course. So we'd like to get a little bit more into anecdotes and stories that you might have had. So at a time when you started Sasken, it was not really, very usual that such a deep tech company would be run out of India. But yet you took a big leap and decided we do it out of India. So tell us about one milestone or incident that made you, it hit you that, okay, Sasken might actually work out.
I think one thing that hit me, and I do recall it even vividly today, is the fact that you ran into amazing talent in the country. Thanks to, I think, my connects that I established with Dr. G. Venkatesh, as well as Sunil Sharlekar at IIT Bombay.
Okay.
Uh, it was just coincidence. I read about their paper in one of the technical magazines, and I just walked to IIT Bombay to meet with them, and they were
Yeah.
gracious enough, and we talked. And then the kind of students, and lot of those students, amazingly bright, never had the aspiration to move to the US.
Okay.
Okay, so that was a defining moment for me, saying we have talent over here.
Hmm.
Why don't we create a platform which allows us to kind of excel and provides individuals to excel without having this need urge to go to the US?
Right.
Because it was always perceived that, and it's for good reasons, that you go to the US, you are automatically successful. What can we do over here? And I think that resonated with GV and Sherlicker, and they decided to leave IIT, an amazingly cushy job, and join a startup over here.
Hmm.
And then how we shaped the company in building the best in class technologies is something I do really uh, feel good and proud about.
Right. So you and the founding team where believing in make in India even before it was a
It is.
conversation.
It is. It is.
Right.
When you connecting a beautiful dot, didn't think of it that
Yeah.
way, but
So
yes,
it's so lovely that because you started almost 40 years ago, we are where we are today, and contributing to the nation's progress. So
I
that's
mean
so
that's
beautiful.
thing.
Yeah.
I think we have played a big role in and the uh, the community over here in Bangalore and elsewhere recognizes that Saskin was the pioneer in this,
Right.
and lot of folks in the industry are from ex-Saskians who have made an amazing contribution to
Right.
the overall growth, and that's something obviously feel proud of.
So it's not just limited to Sasken; it's beyond
It
Sasken
is.
now. That's a wonderful contribution. So what again? Sorry, we'll move to a little negative zone. So, what was one hard lesson during the early years? Of course, it must have been very fragile at that time. That you got a hard lesson and thought, okay, so we have to be careful of this, and this is how we go. So, tell us a little bit about the difficulties that you might have faced.
I think there were uh, adversities. I wouldn't say there were certain challenges you faced. One, I think, at one point, one of we were trying to create a partnership with one other company, and the founder CEO of that company with whom I was negotiating kind of made me feel look small,
Okay.
and that kind of hit me badly at that time. Stayed with me, and I'm sure it stays with me even today. But from there, I took the positive lesson on saying how does one always remain prepared
Right.
rather than be getting into a corner, a situation.
Mm.
Instead, always be on the front foot. And I think that is one thing I feel was an interesting learning
Right.
lesson. But I think I took the positives out of it to learn out of it. And
Yeah, that's a very valuable lesson. Always doing your homework before you go for anything.
yeah, so be
That's
prepared or think through
right.
before you kind of
Right. So when you've been through a trajectory of almost 40 years now, you've seen so much, right? So ups and down, crashes and falls, both internal as well as external. So suppose we've had the dot-com bust to anything else that might have happened, even to now a change into the AI and ML systems. So how do you as a leader navigate these changes, even when you might think that there's a risk to the company? So what is your leadership philosophy when it comes to navigating such changes?
I think the one is of course tenacity, resilience, belief in the people,
Right.
and belief in yourself. More in people and in yourself. That day and kind of have created the core
Mm.
which adapts itself to the changing environments
Mm.
and remains relevant to the market.
Right.
I mean, that's one thing I am proud of Saskin, that we, in many ways, are built to last.
Right.
And we keep adapting, changing, fighting in the market. And our customers value us for what we have delivered to them in the last 40 years.
Mm.
Okay, they even today value us, those folks to whom we made a difference still come back to us in some different avatar as our customer. So that is something I think has stood by us, and that is one thing I think I would love to see the organization continue uh, on an ongoing, sustained basis.
Right. So the legacy of our brand value stands strong
True.
even through any cycle. So when you've had an entrepreneurial journey for so long, and when you're an entrepreneur and you create something, that's your baby. But there's also something called the sunk cost fallacy, where people are not able to let go even though it's a sinking project. So, as a leader, how do you decide, even though the project is very dear to you, how do you decide when to let go and when to persist for the overall well being of the company?
I think I have my share of mistakes on that. So I've at times not let go, even though I believe I should have let go at the appropriate time. Uh, that is definitely one of the see with every your strength is your weakness also. Okay. So with every success, there will be so many others which would also classify in the context of failure.
Right.
And that's the journey you just have to keep going. I think the don't associate too much of value to it.
Right.
It's part of the journey, part of your DNA. Just keep moving. That's the never kind of over engineer or over analyze, because if you over analyze, you'll never make progress.
Right. So we'd also like to know a little on the same lines, with a little bit of a happy story where maybe there'd been a project where everybody else told you that, okay, this might not work out, let's leave it. But you persisted and it became a success. So is there something that was there in your entire career that you solely believed in and it worked out?
I think we have so many such examples in our company.
Okay.
Way back, we when nobody had done it, we put faith in our people, and they built the world's first ADSL system, the
Okay.
asymmetric digital subscriber loop. Our teams built the first soft DVD players running on PCs.
Right.
Our teams built the protocol stack, being making us one of the two companies in the world supplying that to the markets.
Mhm.
So many examples we have in our history so far, where our teams, our people, with just simple belief and trust,
Right.
have kind of met the challenge. And I do think that's the only thing that's constant.
Mhm.
Trust people, allow them to succeed, encourage them, rest will follow.
Right. So, moving to a slightly different trajectory, Sasken is known for its efforts and sustainability. So, as a leader, what is your vision and what is your connect with sustainability, and what are your values that leads the company's efforts today?
I think sustainability obviously is a need. I mean, what we see around us, there's a grave concern. Think of quality of air, all those things, but all of us are contributing to it in some way or the other. And some of it may be unavoidable, but whatever you think you can do to repair it is obviously a path one needs to be on. And more importantly, the people in our company are so passionate about it
Right.
that it's not so hard, honestly, to support people like Sunil, Shailendra, all are passionate about environment. That and I mean, many are there. I may not know all the names in the company, and that is a momentum which is honestly driving this entire aspect of sustainability.
Right.
The other aspect of helping people is something dear. So whatever ways we can help, particularly through our CSR, and making sure that we make an impact. I think I'm really happy and proud to say that again we have consciously chosen and have made all out efforts, and we are seeing amazing impacts being created. One, sir, this year we got recognized
Right.
for the CSR activity of taking care of infant kids who otherwise lose eyesight because of infant diabetes.
Right.
So appreciate, and I think it's satisfying.
So, your passion for sustainability and CSR, was it also somewhere in your vision when you started out your company initially?
I think we always have been an organization helping as helping if and when we see an opportunity. Our early days, if you remember James
Okay.
in our finance team, James, we came across him as a kid, maybe about 7 8 years old, and he was actually a bricklayer
Okay.
doing construction work at that tender an age. at this office that we had rented.
Okay.
Okay. So he was finishing some of the
Mm.
construction. Now, Krishna and I, one of the founders, we requested him to buy something for us. He went and
Mm.
purchased it for us, and we asked him to keep the change,
Okay.
and he refused. And that kind of stayed with us, and we made an instant decision. What do we do to really make employ him
Mm.
and see how he can change his life from what he is as a bricklayer
Right.
at this tender an age. Now, to his credit, he worked hard and has been with the finance team for the longest time, and the most trusting guy, taking care of all kinds of things.
Mm.
Of course, did he study? Probably not. But I think his next generation, I think, is doing, all his three girls are doing extremely well.
Right.
And that's an impact, I think, really feel good and proud about, not about us alone, but about him. I mean, he took the opportunity also and
Right.
made a difference to himself. So I think from the beginning, whenever we saw an opportunity, it was always there in our minds to see how we can help, support, rather than not do that. And in India, I mean, you don't have to look far and wide.
Yeah.
The opportunity, just having the will to support rather than so feeling good about just James' story. I don't know how many people know about it.
Yeah. And such a lovely story that's everyone's gonna know about now. So thank you so much for sharing. So we'll move a little bit into your personal leadership styles and personal beliefs. So when you started out at Sasken, your role as a leader was very different. You'd probably be sitting along with the teams, working with them, to now being at a place where it's physically probably not possible for you to go and meet everyone personally. So what was your mindset as a leader back then, and how has it changed to, and what is it now?
I think one thing that is constant then and now is trusting people and believing in the the potential and the ability of people to deliver given the challenge. Uh, and that continues, and I think that's my style, hands off, and create an environment where people are able to really rise to their fullest potential
Mm.
because of their own volition.
Right.
Okay, rather than getting pushed into it because of uh, useless, nonsensical demands and asks.
Right.
Okay, the system has to be, and I think I'm proud of it, that in Saskin we have today a system where we'll weed out those people who are non-performers,
Mm.
but don't change the system and bring in which is one of coercion from the top. Instead, allow an environment where people on their own volition feel that it's my responsibility, it's my accountability.
Mm.
Let me run with the ball and carry people along with me for success.
Right. So essentially, you see yourself as an enabler rather than a leader, and
Yeah,
people's actuating their own worth and skills. I think
exactly.
that's what.
Because that's the only way in our business.
Right.
Because people closest to the problem know the problem and the solution also.
Right.
No point in you kind of from your ivory tower
Of course.
pontificating.
So you often, you often speak about integrity and intellectual honesty. So do you have any examples where, because of these values, we've got really good decisions, that has impacted the trajectory of the company, solely because of integrity and honesty?
I think we have many examples, and the most important personally is one can sleep peacefully at night when you are operating with these principles, that you
Right.
don't carry anything and waste your time trying to brush things under the carpet.
Mm.
Instead, saying it the way it is. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, because of the intellectual integrity, I hope everybody understands the meaning of it. It's beautifully described by Peter Drucker, that it means that you see the way it is rather than the way I would like it to see it.
Yeah.
Meaning, I'm not applying my biases onto something. Instead, take it at absolute face value and see what needs to be done from there. I think the tenacity and the journey that we have been on, where we at times we have had near death experiences, we come back, is solely response. I think intellectual integrity in the system is the one single reason I can think of,
Right.
which has allowed us to navigate and be relevant to the customers.
That's absolutely, and it also adds to our brand promise, right? That we deal with so much
Yeah,
of data, so much of R&D material and everything. So
exactly.
integrity is very important.
I mean, we saw this example I read in where, forget his name, this one of the Sasskians, he had extra 500 rupee
Yes,
note.
yes.
And he
Just
actually,
yesterday.
just yesterday or day before, we read about it in the internal communication.
Yes. So that's a lovely example. So, sir, you also have your share of ups and downs and your share of tough days on a personal note. So, how do you keep yourself emotionally and mentally balanced to be able to run the company sanely as a human being?
And I've had moments also, so I can't claim that I've been balanced and sane all the time. But largely, I think the belief that this too shall pass. Okay,
Yeah,
look at the future
right, right.
and don't worry about things that are not in your control, because you are unnecessarily bothered, worried, and you worry others. Focus on things that are in your control, and there try to do what best you think you can do. And like they say, when you are if you've been on a hike, uh, when you look up, you find the task very daunting. But when you're hiking and if it's a steep climb, the advice typically is look down and one step at a time. Okay, because the moment you look up, it looks so daunting that you lose your confidence
Right.
and your grit to kind of overcome it. But it has worked wonders when you just look down and one step at a time. And
Of
that
course.
works actually.
Yeah. Because when you're a leader, your teams would be looking up to you in moments of chaos as a pillar of stability. So I guess that's a beautiful example that, just take it one step at a time and this
Yeah,
too shall pass.
that's all. Just one step at a time. Keep walking. That's all.
Right. So we'll have a little fun. We have a little fun segment here where we have a rapid fire session. So just you just have to answer the first word that comes to your mind. So one morning habit that you never skip.
Cup of tea.
Chai for Indians. So one hobby that truly relaxes you.
Watching movies.
Oh, any favorites? Recent favorites?
Oh, many, I think. Yesterday I saw this, uh, forget the name now, but it's about this doctor, Benjamin Carson, who was the first one who operated the Siamese twins. It's
Okay.
a movie on Netflix.
Okay.
Forget the name. Amazing Hands or something like that.
All right. I'd have to
The
go back
life
and
story
check.
of Benjamin Carson.
Okay. So favorite music or genre that you keep going back to?
I listen to all music. Actually, I enjoy all music.
Okay. That's lovely. So favorite food, okay, so two favorite foods. One is a comfort food, one is pure indulgence.
I think comfort food is Idlis.
Okay. And
Okay. And indulgence, any sweets. Okay.
oh, lovely. What's your favorite sweet?
Oh, any. I like all. I have a sweet tooth.
No partiality.
No partiality.
Your favorite holiday destination or somewhere you keep just going back to?
I think there's time we used to keep going back to Nagarhole. But now it has changed. It's all new places
Oh,
basically.
right.
What I enjoy going to is new places.
Okay.
Of all of the urban places, I like going back to is London.
Oh, okay.
So,
And any offbeat destination that you like?
oh, I mean, we've been to many. So Galapagos is an
Okay.
offbeat one, or northern Finland,
Okay.
or Africa.
Okay.
So Someday maybe Antarctica.
Of course. So, one book that you really loved reading that stayed with you.
I think any book on Gandhi is
Okay.
many books written by many authors, but one that I keep going back to is a memoir by William Shirer.
Okay. So, any
That's a
key
book on
message
Gandhi.
that was part of it that stayed?
I think what I like about that book is that William Shirer covered Gandhi for a period, I think 30s to 35 or something, before he got pulled into Europe to cover World War II.
Okay.
So what you read is his first-hand experience of Gandhi. So it's so much fun to kind of experience that.
Okay.
And he's kind of is a wonderful author. So it's fun to read, and then lot of insights and lot of interesting things about Gandhi that he's kind of brought out. So I keep going back to that.
I'd have to check the book out. So, one quality that you deeply admire in people.
Honesty. Okay.
Okay. Your favorite way to recharge after a demanding week.
I think like I plunk watch movie or whatever.
Okay. A life lesson that you taught, learned on your own that business can never teach you.
Life lesson that I learned on my own. What can I say on that one? I think it is always so honesty, integrity is something that is a life lesson for me.
Okay.
I'm not saying it may see, people think that in business you have to do shortcuts, which is not true. You can be true to yourself as well as honest and follow the highest in integrity and still be successful. Okay.
Right. So, one thing that people would be surprised to know about you.
What is one thing that people will be surprised? That I sing.
Oh, that maybe someday we'd love to hear something from you. So, if not an engineer and entrepreneur, what would you have been?
I don't know. I never thought of anything. I can't think of anything also.
If now you'd have to leave it all behind and pursue
I won't
something
change
else.
anything.
Oh, so
I
you
won't
love
change.
this through and
I
through.
love through and through. I won't change it.
Okay. And finally, one word that describes your journey so far.
I think resilience, tenacity.
Okay. That's what it takes to come so long. So, okay, so we come to the close of the fun section and then the close of the podcast episode itself. But before we close, we'd like to hear if you were speaking to your younger self back then, 40 years ago, what would be one piece of advice that your present self would give?
Just don't hesitate. Just do it.
The overthinking is not going to get you anywhere. Right.
It's good.
Right. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. It was a really lovely episode, and we hope to see you again in future episodes with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.